Hello, this is Father Rich coming to you from the office hallway at Our Lady of Peace for our next segment of how the church has changed the world. I'm here in front of our copy of The Prodigal Son here. That's by Rembrandt. And this is a bit of a stretch, but there's another author, another painter actually, that did a version of The Prodigal Son. Quite a few people have. But that is the one of the subjects of our essay today. The essay is called Grave, Where is Thy Sting? And it's about two Spanish men who came from very different pasts, but they would combine to create a beautiful set of artwork based on the corporal works of mercy in the hospital created by a religious group in Seville, Spain in the 1600s. So the name of this is in 1662, and the name of the artist is Bartolomé Esteban Murillo, and really would be considered one of the greatest. He was a Baroque painter and one of the greatest Spanish painters of this time in this era, and he was a very kind of genteel, kind man, but he got paired up with a man who is the origin, many say, of the legend or concept of Don Juan. We use that term now, many people, to as a phrase for a womanizer. And this was the man who was known to not only have many mistresses, but also to go to the matter of death and murder in order to cover up his improprieties. And the man's name was Miguel Manara. And there was actually a book written about Don Juan back in 1630s. And the original thought was that this Miguel Manara was the person that the book was written about, this womanizer. But it ends up that this man, Miguel, would have been 14 years old when the book came out. So it couldn't have been about him as a womanizer as a young man, because he wasn't old enough yet. So the theory now is that he actually read this book as a young man, even though the lesson of the book of Don Juan had one that showed that ultimately Don Juan's escapades caught up to him, and had a moral to the story. The suggestion is that this Miguel Manara decided he wanted to emulate his life on Don Juan of the story. And so he became like a living Don Juan. And amazingly, eventually his one wife would die at a very young age. And through this, he would have this major conversion and go on to turn his life around, to join one of these lay kind of religious movements. And he would eventually become the leader of the religious movement and commit himself to building a hospital. And he would go to this famous artist, Murillo, and ask him to do the artwork for the hospital as a source of inspiration for the corporal works of mercy. And so you can, four of them are still in this hospital to this day, run by the same order. I forget the exact name of it. Hermandad. What was the name of that? Hermandad. Forget the De la Caridad, the Hermitage or the Brotherhood of Charity. But one of the paintings was Murillo's version of the Prodigal Son. And he would use that for the actual clothe the naked, the suggestion that the prodigal came back literally naked and had to be clothed by his father, not just fed. And so that would become the corporal works for clothe the naked. So four of those paintings are there, four are in museums around the world. But believe it or not, because of his commitment to helping the poor and the needy, Miguel Manara, who is connected to Don Juan in that really promiscuous history, would become a venerable of the church. Remember the categories leading up to canonization: being a saint, you are a servant of God, then venerable, and then be blessed, and then saint. And he is now a venerable because of how he turned his life around and gave it to helping the poor and the needy. So again, another place where the Catholic Church, led by sinners that knew what it meant to turn away from God, would see the true meaning and try to live up find satisfaction through living of this world, and then turn their life around and know that the most fulfilling way to live is the love that gives its life away for others. And what a great example of that. Don Juan turned to now be Venerable Miguel Manara. And so we see how the church continues to change the world, care for the needy, and they continue to do that right there in Seville, Spain. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. God bless.